My roommate has been catfishing her online boyfriend using my photos for 3 years, but the twist nobody saw coming? I'm the one who's actually been talking to him. My roommate Adeline has always been super insecure about her looks. 3 years ago, she matched with this incredibly sweet guy Ben on a dating app, but instead of using her own photos, she used mine from my Instagram. I only found out when she panicked about what to say. She begged me to help with one message. That turned into ghostwriting their entire relationship. At first, it was small stuff, good morning texts, casual replies, but then Ben got deep. Dreams, books, big questions. Adeline had no clue how to respond, so I did. Soon, I was having long, late-night conversations with him. We talked about everything, so I'd respond, and Ben would write back these thoughtful, funny, incredibly genuine messages. Before I knew it, I was having hours-long conversations with this guy every single night. I knew Ben better than I knew most of my actual friends. I knew he drank his coffee black, that he was terrified of butterflies, that he cried during Pixar movies. I knew he stayed up too late reading and made terrible dad jokes. And the crazy part? I started falling for him, hard. Every night, I'd get excited to see what Ben had written. I'd find myself smiling at my phone, genuinely laughing at his jokes, feeling butterflies when he'd share something personal. But I couldn't say anything because technically, he was Adeline's boyfriend. Adeline, meanwhile, had no clue what we even talked about. She'd ask me to summarize our conversations, but she never really listened. She was more interested in the fact that she had a boyfriend than in who he actually was as a person. This went on for 3 years of me being emotionally invested in someone I'd never met, someone who thought he was talking to my roommate. Then last month, Ben started talking about visiting. He'd been wanting to meet in person for ages, but Adeline always made excuses. This time, he wasn't taking no for an answer. He'd booked a flight and everything. Adeline completely lost it. She came to me crying, begging me to pretend to be her when he arrived. She had this whole plan where I'd meet him at the door, we'd hang out for the weekend, and she'd figure out how to transition to being herself afterward. I told her absolutely not. I said she needed to tell him the truth, or I would. We had this massive fight. She accused me of trying to steal her boyfriend, said I was jealous of her happiness. So yesterday morning, when Ben texted that he was on his way from the airport, I made a decision. Adeline had conveniently scheduled herself to work a double shift, probably hoping I'd change my mind. When Ben knocked on our door, my heart was pounding. I opened it, and there he was, exactly like his photos, with that same gentle smile I'd fallen in love with through his words. I took a deep breath and said, "I'm Sienna, we need to talk." I invited him in and told him everything. How Adeline had been using my photos, how I'd been the one writing all the messages, how neither of us had meant for it to go this far. I expected him to be furious, to storm out, to never want to see either of us again. Instead, he was quiet for a long moment. Then he started laughing. "Sienna," he said, "I figured that out like 6 months ago." My jaw dropped. He explained that he'd noticed changes in the writing style, that some messages felt like they came from a completely different person. He'd even done some internet sleuthing and found my real Instagram account. "I've been hoping for months that I'd get to meet the person who's actually been talking to me," he said. We talked for hours. In person, he was even better than I'd imagined. Funnier, kinder, more genuine. Everything I'd fallen for through text was amplified in real life. When Adeline got home that evening, she found us sitting on the couch, talking and laughing like old friends, which in a way, we were. She completely lost it. Started screaming about how I'd betrayed her, how I'd stolen her boyfriend, how I'd ruined everything. Ben tried to explain that there was nothing to steal because their relationship had never been real, but she wouldn't listen. The next morning, Adeline packed her stuff and moved back in with her parents. She left me this long note about how I was the worst friend ever. Ben and I are taking things slow, figuring out what this means for us. But last night, he took me to dinner, our first real date, even though we've technically been talking for 3 years.